You grow up on the edge of Puntland, where the land turns to dust and the sea turns to metal. The shoreline is lined with broken hulls and sun-bleached nets. Old men sit under scrapwood shade and argue about fish that used to be easy to catch. Everyone has a story about the ocean changing, about foreign trawlers dragging the water clean, about storms that feel meaner every year. Your father is a fisherman who still goes out because staying home feels like surrender. He comes back with empty baskets more often than not. Not violent, just worn down. Same prayer mat, same quiet stare. He talks less every month, like words are another resource that got overfished. Your mother sells tea and flatbread to drivers and dock workers at dawn. She counts coins like they are fragile. When you are young, you think adulthood is a thing you earn. Then you learn it is something that happens to you, whether you are ready or not. School is a hot room with broken fans. Lessons about faraway capitals, math problems that assume you have a job waiting at the end of the page. You drop out when you are 16 because your family needs money now, not hope later. You start doing whatever work shows up, carrying sacks, fixing motors, loading fuel, watching trucks at night for men who pay you in cash and don't ask your name. You get good at small mechanical things. You can hear a tired engine the way someone hears a lie. You learn how to keep your face blank around older men. Nobody calls it talent. They call it useful. At 19, you meet a guy named Abshir who always seems to have something. A new phone, a better shirt, a full stomach. He doesn't brag. He doesn't have to. He tells you about security work on the coast. He says there are crews that protect local waters. He uses words that sound like dignity. One evening, he points at the horizon where container ships move like floating cities. He says, "All that money passes us every day, and we are still counting coins." You laugh because it sounds like a movie line. He doesn't laugh back. He asks you if you can swim, if you can hold your breath, if you can stay quiet when your heart is loud. He says there is a man who likes calm people, a man who pays on time. You tell yourself you are not agreeing to anything, but you show up the next night anyway. They don't hand you a flag. They don't hand you a fantasy. They hand you a jerry can and a brush. Your first job is cleaning the skiff, scrubbing salt stains, checking fuel lines, carrying water. You are not a pirate yet. You are a servant. You sleep in a crowded room that smells like sweat and diesel. The floor is hard. Men snore like they are fighting in their sleep. You wake before dawn to a call you don't ignore, because ignoring calls is how you get replaced. Outside, the sea is black and flat. The wind carries the scent of fish rot and fuel. You load gear without looking excited. Excitement makes you sloppy. Sloppy people don't last. The first time you go out, you don't touch anything. You sit low, hands on your knees, while the engine screams and the boat slaps the water hard enough to shake your teeth. The older men communicate with fingers and eyes. You watch. You learn. You try to look like you belong even though your stomach is turning. Far away, navigation lights blink on the horizon. Somewhere in that darkness are the shipping lanes you have only heard about in rumors and radio chatter. The Gulf of Aden, the routes that connect Suez to the Indian Ocean, arteries of global trade. You have heard about patrols, warships, helicopters, loudspeakers in languages that don't care about your hunger. The older guys say the sea used to be easier. Now it is watched. That doesn't stop them. It just changes the rhythm. Back on land, the man in charge finally looks at you like you exist. His name is Isa. Not tall, not loud, plain shirt, clean sandals. The cleanliness is the point. He asks you one question. Did you panic? You say, no. He studies your face for a long second. Then he nods, once, like you passed an exam. Your pay comes in cash, folded tight and dry. More money than you have ever held in one hand. You don't celebrate. You just feel your chest loosen, like you finally took a full breath. You buy your mother cooking oil without asking the price. You hand your father money and watch him stare at it like it is an insult and a miracle at the same time. He doesn't thank you. He looks away because pride is the last thing he has left. You tell yourself this is temporary. Then, you start getting invited closer. The humiliation fades, and the expectations rise. You're trusted with small responsibilities, keeping the boat ready, watching the shoreline, listening to the radio when the others sleep. You learn there is structure to this that outsiders never understand. Investors, negotiators, men who never leave land, elders who receive a tax, families paid off so they don't talk, local officials who look away because the same economy that starves the village also feeds it. You are climbing, but not into freedom, into dependence. Your days become a loop. Morning work that looks legitimate, afternoon meetings that sound like business, night calls that turn your blood cold. In the market, you start seeing the same faces. Men who used to sell fish, now selling phone minutes. A mechanic who suddenly has brand new tools. A teenager with a smartphone that costs more than your father's boat. It isn't chaos. It is a payroll. Your little brother looks at you with a new kind of respect, the kind that scares you because it is addictive. Your mother stops asking questions because she has learned questions don't keep lights on. Sarah starts meeting you at the tea stall again. She says you look different, healthier, calmer. She says she likes it. You tell her you found steady work. She believes you because she wants to. Months pass, and the work stops feeling like a favor and starts feeling like a contract. You go out more. You sleep less. You stop asking what tomorrow looks like. Then the first crack appears, and it is quiet. A younger guy gets hurt and disappears for a while. When he comes back, he is thinner and quieter. His mother shows up outside Issa's compound asking for help, medical care, food, time, anything. You expect the crew to treat her like family. You expect the story you were sold. Issa listens politely, then says, "He knew the risks." The woman's face changes like a curtain dropping. That sentence rewrites something in you. You realize what you are actually inside of. A system. You start slipping the mother money on the side. Not charity. Insurance. Because you want to believe if you fall, someone will do the same for yours. You are probably wrong. Success becomes confinement. Issa starts talking like a logistics manager. Pressure, risk, routes, patrol patterns, crackdowns. He never speaks with fear. He speaks like a man adjusting a budget. You hear about armed guards on ships. You hear about new patrols. You hear about the world responding. And you realize something that makes your stomach go tight. Your existence is now part of global planning. Sarah asks you to come to her cousin's wedding. You say yes. You even believe yourself. The night before, one message arrives. No explanation, just an instruction dressed like a request. You don't go to the wedding. Sarah doesn't scream. She doesn't beg. She just looks at you with calm sadness. She asks one question. Are you in trouble? You say no. She waits for the truth behind it. You don't give it to her. The silence between you becomes heavy, permanent. Around this point, you notice the real shift. You never choose when you work. Work chooses you. Your phone buzzes and your body moves before your brain does. You stop making plans because plans require ownership of time. You don't own yours anymore. Then, right when the climb should feel like victory, the major twist snaps into place. You were never being promoted. You were being positioned. You replay moments you didn't think mattered. The first day Abshir found you, the way Isa noticed you early, the way you were pulled closer right when pressure increased, the way that mother was dismissed like a bill the company didn't want to pay. You were never running it. You were maintaining it. You were the layer between the people who profit and the people who get caught. Belonging was never the reward. Belonging was the leash. Once you see it, the no-exit logic is simple. If you leave quietly, you lose income and keep exposure. If you stay, you earn more and increase exposure. If you talk, you become the headline while the structure stays unnamed. The system doesn't need to threaten you directly. The incentives do it for them. You try to pull back anyway. You answer slower. You look less eager. You ask for time. Isa doesn't get angry. He gets polite. He says, tired men make mistakes. It sounds like advice. It lands like a warning. Then something small happens that turns your blood cold. A checkpoint stop. A question asked too smoothly. A glance that lasts half a second too long. Someone says your name with the calm certainty of a person reading it off a page. Later, you sit in a plain room with plain furniture and a fan that clicks as it turns. A man slides a folder across a table. Photos, dates, connections. Enough to show you that you were never invisible. They offer you a card, a number, a deadline. You walk out into daylight and it feels too bright. That night you sit on a rooftop and watch the sea from far away. You think about your mother counting coins, your father's silence, Sarah's calm sadness. You realize you built a life that looks like power from the outside and feels like a trap from the inside. Before dawn, you go to Isa and tell him you are done, leaving. He listens like a man hearing an employee resign. He gives you conditions. No contact, no returns, no stories. You vanish and stay vanished. Then he says something that feels like a final invoice. You wanted to belong. Now belong to silence. You leave inland. You take a bus full of workers and students thinking about normal things. You stare at the road and feel numb. The sea disappears behind you and you expect relief. Relief doesn't come. Aftermath is small and quiet. You end up in a town where nobody cares about shipping lanes. You repair generators and water pumps. Honest, boring work that makes you tired in a clean way. Your hands still know engines. Your mind still runs old software. You scan exits. You track faces. Habit doesn't dissolve just because the environment changes. Sarah doesn't call. Your mother doesn't ask questions. Your father looks older each time you see him. You realize you can come home physically and still not come home mentally. Some nights you hear a distant horn from a truck on the highway, and your chest tightens because it reminds you of ships you will never touch again. You stand outside the workshop with oil on your hands and listen until the sound fades. And finally, you understand what this really ran on. Not cannons, not treasure. Loneliness. Every recruit is someone who lived on the edge of being unseen until a man like Isa sat down and said, "You matter." That was the product. Belonging. The price was everything else.